Hello, third year students. Today we are going to start a very significant poem entitled The Chariot by Emily Dickinson. But before that, let me give you a brief bio note on the poet and then we will begin reading the text. So, Emily Dickinson was a very highly regarded American poet. In fact, one of the most famous poets that ever lived in the 19th century America. She was born in 1830 in Amherst, Massachusetts, into a prominent family, though little known during her life because she chose a life of seclusion, not mixing with many people and having a very restricted social network out of her own choice. But she gained recognition and fame posthumously when her sister published her collection of poetry. She never married in her lifetime and dedicated most of her time reading extensively and also writing poetry. She was a prolific writer who wrote nearly 1800 poems, but because of her shy, reclusive nature, she never made great efforts to publish her poems, and that's why only 10 of her poems were published during her lifetime and rest of them were published by her sister after her death. And when we look into the themes of her poems, she mostly dealt with the themes of death, immortality, love, friendship, psychological processes, and wonders of nature. As a matter of fact, death is a prevalent theme in many of her poems, including the one that we have taken up today for discussion, The Chariot. As far as Dickinson's poetic skills are concerned, she is known for her short lyric poems with compact phrases, abstract ideas, and imagery packed with meaning and loaded with significance. The ideas and images in her poetry provoke the reader into greater thought and discussion. Her poetry is considered unique for her era, for her period. She developed her own signature style of writing poetry. Her punctuation is erratic, especially extensive use of dashes. She most often punctuated her poems with dashes, and she also experimented with meter and rhyme scheme in her poetry. The final years of her life were spent in isolation and mental decline. She died in 1886 at the age of 55. Now, the poem Chariot that we are going to read was probably written in 1863 and published posthumously in 1890. Interestingly, as Emily Dickinson never gave title or names to her poems, titles were added by the editors for publication. So this poem is also known with another title, then that is Because I Could Not Stop for Death. And that is also the very first line of the poem. This poem is one of Dickinson's most celebrated poems written on the theme of death. It's quite interesting to note, in fact surprising, when she talks about the experience of death. It is far from frightening or something to be scared of. In the poem, she describes a metaphorical journey to afterlife with personified death. She discusses death as if he were a person, a kind and generous gentleman who had come to take her on a ride to afterlife, a ride to eternity in his carriage. And as she goes through the afterlife, she briefs us of her past life while she was still alive. Now, let us begin the poem. The Chariot. I quote, "Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality." So this is stanza first. The poet says, "Because I could not stop for death." So the poem opens as if the speaker is giving some sort of an explanation to a question or to an argument when she says, "Because I could not stop for death," by which she might mean that she did not have a choice about when she was to die. Or else it could also mean she was so busy with her life that she never gave a thought to death at all. In fact, who likes to think about death besides those who are old or people suffering with some kind of illness? They might think about death. But apart from those people, most of us hardly think of death while we are happy and at peace in our lives. But here, the poet is letting us know that because she could not stop for death, she gave no thought to death, so death had to remember her. As she says in the next line, "He kindly stopped for me." Now we see that she capitalizes the word death, and by which she means to personify death as a gentleman who is very kind and had come to pick her up, which means that the speaker's time of death had come and now she had to die. She describes death as a kind gentleman, which is altogether a different take on the concept of death. We do not think of death as something kind and generous. Rather, we think of it as something harsh, cruel, and terrifying, which puts an end to life. But for the poet, death is a kind gentleman. And the reason for that is that death was kind enough to think about her while she had not stopped to think about death. But yet, death had come to get her. Line 3. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality. Now, the speaker tells us the carriage, the chariot of death, carried the two of them. But she mentions in the next line that other than herself and death, immortality is also present there. We must note here that she says immortality, not mortality, which gives us the idea that she does not think of death as the end, not as something dreadful or sorrowful, but rather she takes it as a starting of a new journey to an eternal life, to a better life. And that's also an explanation about why she is not upset about being dead. In fact, it looks like she is really looking forward to this journey and wherever it's going to take her from where she is now. Stanza 2. We slowly drove, he knew no haste, and I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. We slowly drove, he knew no haste. So the journey to afterlife begins in this second stanza, and she says, we were driving slowly towards our destination. He knew no haste. He stands for death. Death is in the charge of taking the poet to immortality, and he knew no haste. He was in no hurry. So, this slow movement also suggests the peace, the calm feeling, the positive attitude towards this journey. There is no tension, no fear, no anxiety regarding this journey. And next she says, I had put away my labor and my leisure too for his civility. And she had given up all her labor, all her work, her comfort, her leisure, her spare time for death's civility. The poet was impressed with kind and gentlemanly behavior of death because she thought that death had taken the trouble to come and take her, even though she had never thought about him. So we can see in these lines that she is really hopeful about her new journey with death, for which she has given up all those things concerning life activities, all things of labor and leisure, and now she is looking forward to something better. So this was stanza 2. I will continue with the rest of the poem in the next video. Thank you for today.